Some remarks to the developments, some developments on international level affects the world peace and are urgent and will probably partially remain until the next term. So let's talk about the Ukraine-Russia war a little bit. As I said before, it was prepared also by Gladio and Condor, Gladio operation. There was a long time preparation for escalations that lead to push Ukraine into the NATO, and that makes the anti-Russian party the leading party in this country. And such manipulations has to be condemned. But as much as those things have to be condemned, like the broken word of Putin that he said he wouldn't intervene and wouldn't go with the army to Ukraine and wouldn't invade it, but he did it just short time later, so that's a lie, and that's also to condemn. So let's come to the rules. No? So what we are we left, are we right, are we pro-Russia, are we against Russia? This shouldn't be the questions at all. New politics is about law and order, it's about justice, it's about truth. And even when you want to be a real Christian in politics, I'm still against the mix-up of religion and politics, like the forefathers have been strictly against it, and will continue to be like this. But of course you can be a Christian or whatever religion and a politician, that's right. But you don't have to make officially a mix-up out of it. So, in case you want to be a true Christian in politics, then you should stick very sincerely to logic, logos, and to truth and justice, because truth and justice are qualities of God and all religions. So, to bring that some solution needs to be truthful, unbiased, and fair. This means when we want to apply some reality rules in this game, and when we want to make some proposals, these proposals have to be applied on all sides without any exception. And this is not, it doesn't happen simply. So the new politics needs to be unbiased and without partisanship, truly law and order on international level, up to international rules that we demand, and when we demand it and then we live it as well, then we have the right to demand it and then we have the right to enforce it, otherwise not. And on national level, of course, law and order as well, and it's on both levels not a problem. So Russia, Ukraine, okay, of course there are errors on both sides, and these errors have to be pointed out and have to be investigated as what they are. There shouldn't be a blame on one side, there should be a blame on the wrongdoings and war crimes or whatever happened, and not on a specific side. Ukraine remains one of the corruptest countries in the world. Russia has some corruption problems as well, and making Ukraine a member was not very honorable. It was still legal because there was no contract about it, but it was not honorable because it was against the promise not to make Ukraine a NATO member many years ago given. This needs to be realized and needs to be named as well, and it needs to be investigated, and as well it needs to be investigated in this what is very painful for the United States, I guess. And Donnie, I don't know if you would like this, the bombing of the pipeline. The bombing of the pipeline has some evidences now, and the most evidences show that it was made by and organized mainly by USA government. So you can be happy, Donnie, because you haven't been in the government, and I know that you didn't like the pipeline neither, and you spoke in an unfair way about it, because no country has a right to demand from other countries with whom they make a trade. Every country can sanction whatever country they want. It's their decision, but it should be discussed within the country, is it justified or not. But going to other countries and demand that they have to join sanctions, that they have to import from the specific country something, it's a mafia way, and it's not the way of the free trade. And bombing the pipeline was an international crime, and so the responsible ones have to be made responsible and have to be jailed, at least. And how to deal with compensations. That would be very huge compensations because of plenty of oil lost, and the pipeline itself was a huge investment, about billions, and let's see how to deal with it, but it has to be dealt with. Like it has to be dealt with the Sioux territory the Lakota territory in South Dakota, and in the area of the Lake Hills, what's still legally theirs, and they have to agree to anything. Both sides have to agree on a legal basis, especially the one who is still officially the owner of the land. And so this has to be solved as well, and it's also something what I don't like to blame Christine Owen, because I love her in the way of politics and she has done great things. But in the way of the Sioux, not such a happy end. But this problem can be solved and need to be solved. I think also in the spirit of Crook and Geronimo, Crook and Sioux chief Geronimo, friends and enemies at the same time. And let's do it in the spirit of Crook, who fought the Indians when there were fights and wars, but he always kept his word. Doesn't matter to friends or enemies. And so his enemies even adored him, and even there was a lot of respect between the Sioux chiefs and the Indian chiefs and Crook, even after the fights and even after wars with each other, because the respect was born about honesty, about keeping law and order, demanding law and order. Also from the side of Crook, who always said, no, the Indians need to have the same rights, the same duties too, but the same rights as well. They shouldn't be discriminated in no way. And okay, back to Ukraine, what's a little bit different topic. So okay, there is the invasion, and I would really recommend and would have recommended in the beginning that's an internal conflict, because the argument that the Russian majority want an independence is somehow justified with the logic, as well as the argument from Ukraine's side, no, that's our territory and we decide why we can become independent or not. So I would have recommended to stay outside of such issues because both sides had their legal, valid arguments. But now there's a war and now they have to end it. And right now one important issue is the bias. Not only the bombing of the pipeline, this needs to be started investigated, it needs to be prosecuted. It doesn't matter if Biden has to go to jail or whoever or a general. And they need to be put into jail, they need to be hanged up to the punishments possible and up to the decision of the judge. It was a terror crime. Point. Doesn't matter who has done it. And it's not that I'm a German and angry about it, but also I'm unbiased, and even if I wouldn't be a German, I would have the same viewpoint. Because it's about justice and fairness. So Ukraine and Russia again, so we have now the problem that Lavrov is in Turkey, and in his talks he pointed out to the agreements how about agricultural products to export, to import, and he mentioned that he may not prolong the agreement about the export of Russian agricultural products and ensuring safety for such export. Because such his argument, so it needs to be checked if it's true or not, but it sounds this time as reasonable because Russia doesn't get any possibility to export their agricultural products. So his arguments, in case Russia doesn't get the option to export agricultural products, then they won't agree that this safeguards the export of Ukraine of agricultural products is considerable and is justified. So we need to think about rules at the international level. And when we figure out what rules we want to stand for, we need to apply to all sides, including our side. And in this way we can solve the Ukraine-Russia conflict anyway, and not without being in a higher position. But the Congress has some powers, but are they willing and qualified enough to deal with it? I'm not sure. Lonnie could be sent there by the Congress because he knows Putin well and they go along well. But I hope Lonnie doesn't go into the Cold War trap too much. It's about fairness. It's about application of the law to friends and enemies, and oneself as well, and applying it on international level. The problem is still solvable, but it's getting a little bit more and more fragile.